Yes, welcome back students. So now we will continue the next topic, that is challenges of political parties. We all know that political parties are playing a crucial role in democracy. Political parties are playing a crucial role in democracy. They are the most visible institutions of democracy. They are the most visible institutions of democracy. At the same time, these political parties, they are the necessary conditions for democracy. I mean, without political parties, we cannot imagine the very success of democracy. But at the same time, people all over the world, they blame, they criticize the political parties. Here, people are blaming and criticizing the political parties means there is something which is going wrong within the political parties. So, what are those things which are going wrong within the political parties? Hence, we can call that these are the challenges of political parties, or these are the challenges to political parties. First one is, there are four challenges. There are four challenges that are faced by the political parties in India. First one is lack of internal democracy. Lack of internal democracy. I'll explain each point. Second one is, that is dynastic succession. Dynastic succession. Third one is the use of money and muscle power by the political parties. The use of money and muscle power. Fourth one is meaningful choice. Meaningful choice. So these are the four challenges that are faced by the political parties or in front of the political parties. First one, the first challenge is lack of internal democracy. Lack of internal democracy. Students, generally democracy means what? I mean, where all the people should be treated equally, where there is no discrimination, where all should get equal opportunities, where rules and regulations are meant equal for all. This type of thing should be there. That is called democracy, where all should get equal opportunities, meaningful choice, etc. etc. So, here lack of internal democracy means what? In our country India, in all political parties, internal democracy is absent, or internal democracy is not found. That means within the party, suppose there is one political party is there. So within the party, there is no internal democracy. They speak about democracy. Every party speaks about democracy. But within their party, they will not follow democracy. That means they are not having internal democracy within their party, within them. That is called lack of internal democracy. For example, how? Suppose if there is a political party, okay, so the power of that political party lies with the top leaders. Only the top leaders only having the power in that party. Whereas others, they are not having power. I mean, actually, I told you already in the first period, the first class, that a political party consists of leaders, active members, and followers. Three are there, three components. So suppose if there is a political party, and in that party all the powers, decisions are enjoyed by only the top leaders and not by other people or other active members or other followers in the party, that means there is no internal democracy, because all people are not treated equal in that party. Second one, here these political parties, they are not maintaining the party registers. I mean, they are not maintaining the register of the party. I mean, what is the party name, when this party is founded, what are the party's aims and objectives, okay, what for this party is fighting, who is the founder of this party, okay, who are the active members, who are the followers, this party is having how many active members and how many followers, this party is found in how many states. So they are not maintaining a register. Even they are not maintaining that how many times this party held its meeting, where were they had that meetings. So nothing is maintained in that register. So they are not maintaining register means what? There is no democracy. They can do anything they like. They can blame. They can hide so many things. Similarly, within the party, they are not having organizational meetings. The political parties, they are not conducting organizational meetings within them. Nowadays, political parties, they are not organizing their organizational meetings within the party, nor they are maintaining the party registers, nor they are giving equal opportunities to the active members and other followers along with the leaders. All the major decisions are taken by the party leaders and party heads only. There are many followers or active members who does not know that what is going in their party. Many active members of that party or many followers, they even does not know, they are not aware that what is going within their party, because the things are not discussed with everyone. That means there is no internal democracy. But when it comes to contesting the election, they need everybody's help. They need the support of followers, they need the support of active members, etc. But whenever any decision is taken, that is not shared with their active members nor with their followers. And the power to take any decision lies in the hands of the party leaders. They are not conducting any meeting to know the problems faced by the followers and active members. They are not treating the followers and active members equal to them. So in this way, moreover, they are not maintaining the party registers. They are not maintaining who is the president, who is the secretary, who is what, how many members are there, where their party meetings are held, when they were held, nothing. So there is no equality within their party. So there is a lack of internal democracy. Every party is like that. Second one, dynastic succession. The second important challenge faced by the political parties are what? Dynastic succession. Here succession means what? Suppose there is a political party and its leader is some X. That some X always wants that his son or his daughter should be the next best leader for their party. Okay, suppose I am the leader of one of the parties, some X party, I am the leader. I am having lot of active members, my party is having lot of active members, followers, many people, they are working with me since a long time, 30-40 years. There are several faithful, truthful, obedient party members are there with me. They always supported me at the time of difficulty. Okay, and moreover, I am having one son, grown up son. Now what I am thinking, that after when I become old, when I leave this party, then my son should be the leader for this party. My son should be leader for this, the next leader for this party. I will always think like that. But I will not give chance to those people who are supporting from me since 40 years, who are faithful to this party, who carried the party flags on their shoulders, who gave a lot of service to their party, who sacrificed so many things for the sake of the party. I am not considering them. I am not giving opportunity for them. I am always thinking in selfish manner that after me, this post should be succeeded by my son or my daughter. So this thing is going on more in all political parties. You can see Mulayam Singh Yadav in Uttar Pradesh, his son Akhilesh Yadav. Similarly, our Andhra Pradesh TDP, Chandrababu Naidu's son Lokesh Yadav. Similarly, the present ruling party, that Y.S. Rajశేఖర Reddy, his son Jagan Mohan Reddy. Lalu Prasad Yadav, his son. Similarly, that Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena, they are also same thing. Everywhere, in every political party, this dynastic succession is taking place. As a result, what is happening? The other active members, the secondary members, the followers, they are getting dissatisfied because they are not treated equivalent to them, or they are not giving due share and right place to them. For them, there is no promotions. Though they are sacrificed for 40 years for the sake of the party, and suppose the party leader's son is not at all served anything, but he is given the post, but the senior people, experienced people, they are not given the post. So there is a lot of dissatisfaction among the people. So this type of things are there in every political party. That's why the political parties are being split into divisions. Okay, next is the growing of money and muscle power. Nowadays, every political party, in order to win in the election, Genuinely, no party is winning the election. So every political party, they tries to spend more and more money at the time of election campaigning. If people are not, attracted through money, gifts, bribes, etc., then they are using muscle power. Creating threat and fear, gundaism, fraction problems. So nowadays, every political party is having the support. What? They are having a lot of money. They can make the things change due to money, or if not, with the help of muscle power. Muscle power means physical force. So every political party is doing the same thing. They are using money power, muscle power in order to get votes during the election time. They offer gifts, bribes, or money to the people to attract the voters. If not, they'll create threat and fear among the voters to vote in favor of them, in favor of their party. So in this way, the use of money and muscle power is increased in every party, which leads to criminality in the society. That is not correct. That is not genuine politics. So every party is doing the same thing. So where is democracy then? Where is democracy? Next one. The fourth challenge is that very often parties do not seem to offer meaningful choice. Every political party, they are facing this problem. That is, they are not offering meaningful choice. Political parties, they are not offering meaningful choice. For example, see, suppose there is one party. You take Bharatiya Janata Party. This is Congress Party and some other party. This Bharatiya Janata Party, they selected one person to contest from a constituency, and that person is having criminal background, not good, cruel man, unkind man. And Congress Party, these people, they proposed, they gave ticket to a person who is very kind, having well educated, having leadership qualities, having vast experience, ready to serve. Such person they are proposing from the same constituency. Both are putting their candidates in the same constituency. Like that, other people also. Now, people of the constituency, they are saying BJP party is a good party, but the candidate whom they are putting here is not liked by the people. Similarly, Congress Party. People hates Congress Party, but the person who is proposed by the Congress Party is a genuine person, right person. Now here the voters, they are in confusion. Whom to vote? Party is good, candidate is worst. Candidate is good, party they dislike. So this is happening in almost all cases with almost all political parties. Political parties, they are not able to offer meaningful choice to the people. They should put forward some good leaders, good candidates to contest in the election, so that people also find easy to support that person, to vote in favor of that person. Sometimes parties are good, candidates are not good. Sometimes candidates are good, parties are not good. So they are not able to offer meaningful choice. It leads to confusion among the voters. Sometimes people, though they like party, so in the name of party they voted, but the candidate is wrong, and after elected, that person is not performing his duties properly. Again, it became a headache to the public. So this is happening. So these are the 4 challenges that are faced by every political party. So this need to be checked, or these things need to be verified by every political party. Every political party leader should need to check this one. They need to try to overcome these challenges, so that the party and party system should be reformed, will be good. Okay, next one. The last topic is how political parties can be reformed. How political parties can be reformed. Yes, just now I told you, almost all political parties are facing so many challenges. I discussed 4 challenges. Every political party is facing problem: lack of internal democracy, dynastic succession, not offering meaningful choice to the public, using money and muscle power, many problems. That's why people are also not taking interest to come into politics, to work for the party, and to come to vote on the day of election. Nobody is taking interest. Ultimately, the people are the sufferers. those gundas, those criminal background people who are getting elected in the elections through money, muscle power, they are doing whatever they like, involved in corruption, neglecting their duties, not doing services. Again, it will be headache or problem, creating problem to the public at large. So what to do? We need to come forward to reform, to bring changes in the political parties. Then how could these reforms can be brought? Do all the political leaders of the do all the political parties and the leaders will agree to change themselves? Do they give up the dynastic? Do they give up? Do the party leaders will give up their dynastic succession? Do political party leaders and political parties will stop using money and muscle power? Okay, do you think the party and party leaders will offer meaningful choice? Okay, so here the question is, generally political leaders, the party leaders will never agree for this one. They never agree to get their party reformed. They never agree that there should be internal democracy. If they will agree, then their existence will be trouble. But how? How could we can bring reforms? Yes, there are several ways, there are several methods through which we can bring reforms, changes in the political parties, so that people will like to enter into political field. The youth will come forward. And join in the politics of India. Several new parties also will formed. When good people will come, they will do good to the society, and there will be nation's progress. So let us see how can parties be reformed. In order to face these challenges, above challenges, political parties need to be reformed. Yes. The question is, are all political parties are willing to get reformed? Okay, if they are willing, what has prevented from the reforming so far? If all the political parties are agreed for reform, then why so far they have not been reformed? If every political party are agreed to reform themselves, then why these parties are not yet reformed? Similarly, if they are not willing, is it possible to force them to reform? If political parties and the party leaders are not ready to accept the reforms, then is it possible to bring reforms through forceful methods? So, citizens all over the world face this question. Citizens all over the world are facing the same question. This is not a simple question to answer. Okay, in a democracy, the final decision is made by the leaders. In a democracy, the final decision is made by the leaders who represent political parties. So, leaders should introspect themselves. The leaders should introspect themselves whether they really want reforms in their party or not. So in democracy, the final decision, is made by leaders who represent the political parties. People can replace them, yes. Suppose if any political party is not working according to the people, if a leader is not working properly after getting elected, then what the people will do? Very simple, in the next election, instead of choosing this party, this leader, they will They'll go for another party. They'll vote in the favor of some other leader. So they'll replace. So party will be changed, leaders will be changed. So that is why the leaders also should agree to get change, to bring change in their parties. If all of them do not wish to reform, how can anyone force them to change? If no party, no leader want to accept reforms in their party, how we can bring changes? How we can introduce reforms in the party? How we can bring political reforms? Let us look at some of the recent efforts. Let us see some of the recent efforts and suggestions in our country to reform political parties and its leaders. Now I'll read some of the efforts, some of the suggestions which are made by some of the philosophers, some of the scholars, or by the public. Okay, some of the scholars, some people, they produced some efforts, some suggestions that through these efforts, through these suggestions, to some extent we can bring reforms in political parties. Let us see what are they. Number one, the constitution was amended to prevent elected MLAs and MPs from changing parties. You know, suppose I as the representative, I am from BJP party, I contested in the election, my party gave me ticket, I contested in the election and I won the election from that constituency. Fine. After getting elected, suppose elected for Lok Sabha means MP. If I'm elected for Legislative Assembly means MLA. So after getting elected, suppose I became MLA, but I was not given any portfolio or not given any minister post. Then I am dissatisfied with my party decision. I am dissatisfied with the party decision. And I got angry and I decided to leave the party. Hence what I have done, I left that party and joined with some other party. I joined with some other party where I was offered minister post. The other party, they are calling me, or I joined there, and that party is welcoming me with red carpet and they are offering me post. If next time whenever their party will come to power, they will give me what? The minister post. Moreover, they are giving lot of money also. So with the greed for post and money, I am changing the party. Actually, this person won on the symbol of BJP, for example, and he shifted some other party. So in this way, he is making the people confused. By seeing the party, they voted this candidate. By seeing the party, the goodwill of the party, they voted this candidate. But this candidate has changed to some other party. So this is called what? Defection. Defection is taking place. Whenever defection is taking place, lot of problems are arising in the parties. Okay. Whenever defection is taking place, then what happened? The governments are getting what? Collapsed. Or the party strength is declining. They are losing their majority due to this declining, changing of party by the MLAs or MPs. Hence, our Indian Constitution, by making one amendment, they made one act that is called Anti-Defection Law or Anti-Defection Act. According to this Anti-Defection Act, it was said that once you won from a party with any party symbol, after getting elected, you are not supposed to change your party at least for 15 years. You can change the party, but first of all, you have to resign your post because you got elected from that party and that party symbol. You resign that post, you resign that MLA post or MP post, and you can change the party. That's okay. But being an MLA or MP, if you change the post or change the party, that is not accepted. So, an anti-defection law was made by the Constitution in the Parliament. So, according to this Anti-Defection Act or law, we are controlling the changing of parties by the MLAs and MPs because it is creating a lot of trouble in losing the majority or collapsing of the governments in many states. Okay, so through what? Anti-Defection Act, we can control the changing of MLAs from one party to another party. Second one, the Supreme Court also passed one order to reduce the influence of money and criminals. Supreme Court clearly ordered the Election Commission and all the parties that no political party should use money and muscle power in election campaigning or during elections. If the Election Commission found that political parties are using money and muscle power, to influence the voters to vote in favor of their party, then their nomination will be declared invalid in the elections. So the Supreme Court has passed an order to reduce the influence of money and money and criminals. Now it is mandatory for this is one. Second one, the Supreme Court also passed one act that whenever any candidate is decided to contest or come into politics and decided to contest an election, and fortunately if the political party is giving ticket to that person and is with the help of the ticket is contesting in the election for MLA or MP, then at the time of nomination, this person, any person, man, woman, any person of any party has to provide an affidavit. Affidavit means what? Self-declaration. You should make some self-declaration that whatever properties I am having at that moment on my name, my family name, with my family members' name, what are the wealth properties, how much wealth and property I am having, possessing at that time. I have to give an affidavit so that it will check the person. Suppose after winning the election, after becoming minister something, suppose he is making money, then we can easily come to know that within a short span how he is able to increase his wealth. Because at the time of election he already gave that declaration, through affidavit, that how much wealth and property is possessing on his name and on his family members' name. So this is another one. Next one, that is the next one. Yes, the election commission passed an order making it necessary for political parties to hold their organizational elections and file their income tax. Here the election commission, which is the autonomous body responsible to conduct elections in the country, they ordered all the political parties and their party candidates to file their income tax, their returns, okay, and to submit their files, their party meetings register, their party members' names, active members' names, followers, etc., etc. So at that we will come to know the status of the party. Similarly, here, besides the above 3 or above 4, there are many other suggestions. So for what? They are compulsory. Now this is apart from those compulsory things, some suggestions are made by some people to bring reforms in political parties. What are they? Number 1, a law should be made to regulate internal affairs. There should be one law which should control which should regulate the internal affairs of the political parties. There should be one law which should regulate the internal affairs of the party. It should be made compulsory for all political parties to maintain the registers of its members and to inform its own constitution, what is their party stands for, etc. Constitution, to have an independent authority, to act as a judge in case of party disputes, to hold open meetings to the highest post, whenever any highest post of the party should be given. So there should be general election within their party. In order to select the next best leader, in order to select the next best party members, there should be elections openly. Similarly, another suggestion: it should be made mandatory for political parties to give a minimum number of tickets to women also. It was decided that at least 1/3, it was made in the parliament, 1/3 tickets, 1/3 seats should be reserved for women candidates. All tickets should not be given to male candidates. 1/3 tickets should be reserved for what? Female candidates. So it should be made mandatory, compulsory for political parties to give a minimum number of tickets, about 1/3 to women candidates. Similarly, there should be a quota for women in the decision making bodies of the party. Whenever any decisions are taken in the party, women should be given chance in that one. Next one, there should be one more suggestion was made, which is very, very good. Okay. Generally, elections are fought by the candidates, by the parties, and you and me know that they are using money, muscle power. They are spending lots of money, crores of money to influence the voter, to give bribes, gifts, etc. So it was decided that there should be state funding elections. The election commission should give money to all candidates, 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs. For example, Legislative Assembly, 25 lakhs. For Lok Sabha elections, 50 lakhs. So the election commission should give money to all candidates who are contesting in the election. And the election commission should check whether these parties are spending within the 25 lakhs or within the 50 lakhs or spending more than that. If they are found spending more than that, that means they are using money. Okay, so their nomination should be declared invalid. Okay, now you may ask that why sir election commission will give this money to all the party candidates? How will bring that much money? Where the money will come? This money should be collected from political parties only. This money should be collected from political parties, and the same money should be returned for what? This election campaigning, etc. So it was suggested by many people that the elections in India should be funded by the election commission. If and when they are accepted, this could lead to some improvement. If they will accept, it will be better. But we must be very careful. But we must be very careful about legal solutions to such political problems. Over regulation of political parties can be counterproductive. This would force all parties to find ways to cheat the law. Okay. Besides, political parties will not agree to pass a law which they do not like. Generally, this type of suggestions they will not like, parties will not like, and the party leaders also will not like. If they will follow this one, then they cannot exist. Parties and party leaders, they cannot exist. They leave politics. So anyway, these are some of the suggestions which are made in order to reform the political parties. One question will be asked. One is, what are the challenges faced by the political parties and how the political parties can be reformed in our country India? So these are the answers. So in this way, this lesson is over, students. Now, tomorrow I'll take live class, and in that period I'll take a new chapter, that is democracy and diversity. Okay, students? I think the same lesson, that is, let me check. Sorry, outcomes of democracy. The chapter is outcomes of democracy. I mean, what are the products of democracy? Suppose if you adopt democracy, what are the outcomes, what are the products of democracy? That chapter I'll start day after tomorrow. Okay? Thank you, students. Take care.